This is Cars and Bids.
I'm Kenan.
I'm Filippo.
And today we're going to watch old Doug videos.
Ooh. This is exciting because you filmed a lot of
I filmed a lot of these.
Some of these Filippo was in, some of them he filmed, some of them he provided consultation for.
Right.
But they all live in our hearts.
And some
on
I
YouTube,
massively messed
forever.
up.
Some of them are horrible. Let's see them. Okay, old Doug videos. We each selected one old Doug video that we like. Like is a stretch.
I like this.
Can tolerate.
I enjoyed this era. This is when I was
them
becoming a fan of yours at the time and watching stuff that you were both making and seeing Filippo occasionally appear in videos or have to hide in footwells with stuff that moved forward. And it was all like badly shot with horrible equipment. But it was
That is
accurate.
Exactly right.
And also, I'm not a good cameraman.
Well,
Worth knowing.
Let's find out. I don't even know which ones we all chose.
We all chose
different ones.
So let's go to the first one.
all right.
All right, my
this
selection.
one, Filippo.
Many of you know I own this
Look at
rather
this.
large Hummer.
Camera.
Many of you also know that I live in Philadelphia,
It's
which
the sound isn't lined up to the speaking.
Great editing on your part.
Yeah, that was you.
So this video, me and Filippo,
I want this note. It was Doug's idea.
I was
I was
like,
just
let's
there.
take the Hummer to New York. So me and Filippo drove from Philly. This is the New Jersey Turnpike.
Yep.
We
You ready?
drove from Philly.
Truck side, by the way.
This part sucks.
this part sucks.
God, the camera color handling.
Remember it well.
This is the Holland Tunnel, named after the nation of Holland, which sometimes goes by the alias the Netherlands.
We came up with all this stuff on the fly, right?
No, you had a list of jokes you wanted to make.
Was this just an excuse for you to get out of Philly?
Yeah.
No, we went to the. I don't know. I thought
You
it
went
would
to
be funny.
Jalopnik headquarters at the time?
No, we went up there for the day, and as I
Up to the
recall,
day.
we were so afraid the Hummer would break down that we didn't turn it off. Remember that?
Yep.
We were so afraid because it had
Yep.
broken down a couple other times.
You should know that New York is home to a wide range of some of today's most.
The audio does not match at all.
For example,
Different times.
there's Sarah Jessica Parker.
I always enjoyed this video because it's very Doug.
The iMovie stock music
The
they
one
used to
thing, the
use.
one reason we were okay.
Now this is the Wall Street Bull. They don't let cars near the bull because it likes to eat taillights. Once in 2003, it ate an entire 1994 Nissan Pathfinder.
So many great jokes.
Fact, the bull is radioactive.
I swear we came up with all this stuff on the
I
fly.
think some of it was. I remember there being.
Why
a
am I
little
sitting there with my
print
left
sheet.
turn signal? We got lucky here when we filmed this because we went up in July.
Yeah.
And the whole city was like cleared out. Like everyone was in the Hamptons or at the
surprisingly
beach
people.
or whatever.
It's also the only time I've seen the Statue of Liberty from like
Really?
that side,
Yeah, we were in
the New Jersey side.
Liberty is meant to symbolize liberty and freedom. Unfortunately, from here, it looks like a giant oil derrick.
This is Park
Such
Avenue. We
a
just
great
went
video.
down. We just went down.
Wow, yeah, there's
Park
nobody
Avenue
there.
over and over. That was some other
I think
celebrity.
it was Danny DeVito. Memory serves.
When did?
Wow, there's nobody there.
It's 9
Something
years
like
ago.
that. Yeah, we picked up somebody. Oh, there we go.
You know what? There's all these people walking around trying to hail taxi cabs, and by God, we're not doing anything today. And our car is the same color as a taxi cab, so maybe we should pick one
I
of them.
remember this mic, that giant silver pill that would attach to your
Do you
shirt.
remember this friend's name?
Yeah, I had a guy who was a friend of mine, and we picked him up.
You have a great Michael Bloomberg joke in this, or De Blasio joke in this.
Brooklyn. All right, get in. No, get in the front. Yeah, come on, let's enjoy this. Let's have some fun. So, where are you going?
This was a friend of mine. Obviously, we didn't just pick up a random person. Of course, these are the days before Uber.
Yeah.
Does this thing even have AC?
Yeah, but we're trying to save the environment in New York. The mayor
Trying to save the environment in New York.
save the environment. I don't like that Uber as a taxi driver here in New York City. It's eating.
Yeah, how is that?
It's eating into my
It was
business.
so topical at
You know?
the time.
Also,
It's not the same. You gotta be able
per
to
se, or
provide a
cool.
quality experience.
Do you think this isn't a quality experience? What are you missing out on? Here, I got water for you.
Yep.
Did that person ever talk to you after this? 'Cause I think this might be a.
Around. Oh boy, oh crap. Well, this guy's got to move.
Thinking. I'm reversing.
What is the camera? What are you shooting?
What are you shooting?
Well,
You're the
there
one
was
holding
nothing
the
to
camera.
shoot. Like from the back seat of that car, you're so far to the left.
It's hard to,
That-
and
the-
it's so
the-
tight. Remember how tight it was
The
back
back
there?
seats are incredibly tiny.
I know, and you
I
hadn't
don't
thought
think
to
there
bring a
was a
suction
way.
cup for a camera because you didn't have it in
different
the
times.
arsenal at the time.
Different times.
Well, GoPro existed at the time, no?
Different. Yeah, that was money.
You got to turn up a little more. We went 10 more.
Here we are on the campus of New York University, a highly selective private university where they teach communism. I'm just kidding. The university has graduated some of the nation's top thinkers, like Danielle Steele and Topanga from Boy Meets World. Their mascot is the Lampshades. Go Lampshades! They play 4 sports: badminton, lacrosse, hopscotch, and dodging spit on the subway.
God, this was so stupid.
So stupid. So great, though. I believe it's the only one like this we ever did. Primarily because I don't think it did well.
It didn't do well.
Is Central Park. It's called Central Park because it's halfway between Long Island and Pennsylvania. Central Park is rimmed by some of the most expensive property in the entire world, but it's home to a wide range of destitute homeless people. Central Park also has a zoo which contains giraffes. Fun fact, the Central Park Zoo giraffes are too tall to fit through the Holland Tunnel, so zookeepers had to assemble them here, like IKEA furniture.
Man, you were just anything to get out of Philadelphia, huh?
No, I think what we just desperately needed time.
It's Donald Trump!
Dude, this was 15. I mean, this was the pre-Trump era, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Man, no vehicle looks more out of place in New York than
Yeah.
the Hummer.
This is the Empire State Building, named after a
How did we get these shots? Like, it was incredibly empty that day, and
You guys are so lucky.
didn't feel like it that day.
single Phillips screwdriver. It was rebuilt twice. Once in 1967 when King Kong destroyed it, and once in 1996 after the aliens destroyed it in Independence Day.
There's a great New York Times joke in this. These are some of my favorite Doug jokes.
This is Times Square. Or at least, this is as close as we're allowed to get to Times Square in an automobile. They closed Times Square to car traffic a couple of years ago because they were afraid the cars were disturbing the natural species of tourists and people who dress up in giant hot dog costumes and hand out leaflets to tourists. Now, Times Square is named after the New York Times, who won't employ me. This after the excellent essay I submitted to them about assembling giraffes like IKEA furniture.
It's unbelievable.
I don't know, but I'm
stupid.
so glad we filmed this. Also, New York is not that far from Philly, but it's way further when you can only drive 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, we were stuck in the truck lane of the turnpike going. I still remember this. That was E395. Go back.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was it Alex Roy?
Stay. Go. This is.
I'm
good.
waiting for it.
That isn't that.
No, that's a 540. 540
yeah, it
Sport.
is, yeah, but it's a sport.
It's also Camry.
It's not something.
Ooh, XC90.
They're everywhere.
Well, it's time to leave New York, also known as the
For those curious, this is filmed in Philly.
Was it?
City of Angels. New Yorkers, thank you so much for your hospitality, which primarily involved not spitting on us. Goodbye.
What a classic.
I can't believe that you spent time doing this.
I can't believe we did either. As I recall, we were just like desperate for content.
Yeah,
and
the Hummer was not the best content car.
we did a lot. Remember we took it to the racetrack, New Jersey Motorsports.
hypermiled it.
That's a
We
great video.
hypermiled it.
Your friends drove it.
Yep.
It was just like silly stuff, and
But the
you know,
crushing of cars, obviously, is the
we ran
one.
over the PT Cruiser in it. It's just like we were just like desperate to think of stuff, and I thought that going to New York would be funny.
And it was. That's hilarious.
If it was funny for us, that's a hilarious video. It was funny for us. I think most people don't care that much about New York, even though New Yorkers think everybody cares.
Also, I mean,
entirely about New York.
it's an interesting video.
When was it? It must have been like summer of 15.
It
But I
was
love
8
that
years ago, the exact date. July 29th, 2015.
July of 2015. Man, that was me and Filippo. We spent the whole day doing it. Because
Such
from
a
Philly,
long
driving
day.
from Philly to New York City in the Hummer, someday I'll put away his phone. It'll be done.
I was looking at the comments. I apologize.
He's on Slack.
Driving from Philly to New York in the Hummer was
In the summer,
Yeah, with no AC.
no AC.
Was it?
Oof.
It was like an hour and 45-minute proposition. And then to go to all those sites, I mean, if you look, we were on the east
driven around
side,
a
we were
lot.
downtown, we went to the Wall Street, but we went all the way from the Wall Street Bowl to like the Upper East Side.
Yep.
So, and the Empire State Building was in there.
Yeah, that was a long day.
Those were the old days.
For
It was worth
140,000.
it.
140,000 views.
It
But
was
hey, you
worth
had
it.
content on the calendar, and that's what you cared
We
about.
were so afraid that it would breakdown that, we didn't ever turn it off. So in none of the shots where it's in New York is it ever off. It was running the whole time. Because it had broken down on South Street in Philly, which was a disaster.
In the prior video to this, I looked through yesterday when I was deciding my favorite.
You know, I sold that truck to a guy in New Hampshire who lived in a beach community, and he wanted it to drive around the beach community. He still owns it.
Yep.
Wow.
He bought it from me October of 15.
My friend's seen it.
No way.
Who lives? He lives in New Hampshire. And he's seen it just driving around. It's like I wonder if that's Doug. I'm like, dude, that's the only one. I guarantee that is Doug's old Hummer.
Yes.
Such a bad truck.
What a disastrous.
Sorry,
vehicle.
it's great if you're considering buying a Hummer H1.
Oh. No, there were
the Alpha is
there
good,
are
is quite
there
good.
are a lot of great ones, but I bought a gas V8 one because I wanted to focus on reliability. And to its credit, it was reliable. The one time it broke down, it was like free to fix. I'll never forget when the Chevy dealer in Turnersville, New Jersey, called me and said, "Sir, we have some bad news. It broke down. We towed it in.
Yeah.
Sir, we have some bad news. It's going to be $350." And I was like, "That's all right. I can handle it." But they're used to delivering that news to Chevy Cobalt owners who are like, well, what am I going to do?
Worth $400.
Yeah, right. All right, put up the next video.
All right, what do we have next?
This is
When
my-
men find out I have a Ferrari, one of the first questions they ask is, how many women do you get? The answer is none. And today I'm going to show you why.
Having owned one, I 100% have experience with it.
People asked me, that was the biggest thing people would ask me was, do you get women? You must get a lot of girls, man. And you only ever got
Guys.
guys.
It was only ever guys. If you want to meet guys, if you want to talk to men, get a bright red Ferrari. It's just like from everywhere.
These women were not friends of mine. Most of the women in the video are friends of mine. These women were not. We were just shooting.
I have to say, most of the time, you're right. I will say with my car, I found that whenever the headlights were up, everybody freaked out because it looked like it was smiling and it looked.
But you can see
this
here,
is just
nobody's paying any attention at all. This is at Chastain Park in Atlanta. And we went to the tennis courts. There's always people walking around. And literally, I mean, we didn't fake this at all.
You filmed this one as well.
No, this predates my time.
No, this was in Atlanta.
Wow,
This was
great
before
cars
I-
in the background of all these shots, though.
This was 2014. I mean, that 4Runner was like the
Brand
newest thing on
new.
the road.
Look at that Infiniti 37.
That G was new.
There was an M45 in a prior shot.
Yeah, this was... Videos like this, I think, are kind of stupid. Like, can I get girls? But, like, the point...
But the point was, that's the and it's true. It's the question everybody asks.
Everybody. And I didn't realize just how true it was that women don't care about these cars until... Oh, look at that E30.
This is your,
Nice E30.
to some extent, your big content creator break. Like, this got covered.
This did well. There were a few Ferrari 360 ones. The one that got a lot of coverage was the one that I let my friends drive in.
Oh, you're
I
right.
think
right.
this still got over 1 million views, though.
Didn't you have an interview with, like, a news channel in Australia about this?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, your vents are popping up there a little bit, buddy. Oh, man, look at that.
I remember we were driving through... This is Buckhead, the mall in Atlanta, and we were driving... Look at that 200. We were driving through, like, filming
95.
women, and we were like, this is going to be really weird if they notice us. But proving the point of the video, none of them did. We didn't doctor this either. Like, it wasn't like
This must have taken
only choose the ones who don't look.
Right.
None of them.
There were so many videos that you did at the time of, will people notice this in the street?
This car, you can see this old Colorado license plate on, which is in one of these boxes. It's because I had registered the car in Montana because I couldn't afford it. And so I had Montana plates. Now, this is when we started paying our friends. By paying, I mean begging. This is my buddy Perry's wife. Allie.
And then he would have had to been close enough to the edge.
I think these were some of Allie's friends.
But he ended up eating it all, so I don't know. But he would have had to like.
These were all people we knew. This was one of my wife's friends.
And the Versa.
Her name was Sarah. She lives in Kansas now, in Wichita, actually. You think she knows Hoovy?
Yeah. Probably. Remember when you used to switch license plates for every video?
Yeah,
I
because
No, even after that point. Keep it saying.
Obviously, this would have been creepy if we didn't know the person, but the comments all were like, how did you do that without knowing the person?
These girls will definitely want to check out my car.
So then we took it. This is Emory. This is where I went to college. This is my friend Sam's sister, Ilana.
So women won't throw themselves at you just because you're driving a Ferrari. However, I have discovered one exception to the rule.
Whose dog is this?
This is my friend Melissa's dog. My best friend Melissa. She
This is
brought her
Melissa's
dog. Yeah. and we were my wife and her friends were like in that.
So there you have it. Men, if you want to attract women, don't get a Ferrari. Get a dog.
God,
So good.
what a ridiculous
premise for
premise for video, but it was all accurate, and we filmed it in like
2014
3 hours on a weekend in Atlanta. My friend Perry filmed that one with me, the pre-Filippo.
Pre-Filippo, the better Filippo.
Yeah, he did do a pretty good job.
Steadily downhill.
He did do a pretty good job filming that. God, what an absurd thing. That Ferrari, what happened was I bought that Ferrari at the start of 14, and I just desperately needed to do a video a week because I put up a Jalopnik column every week. And so every week's video had a companion column.
Mm-hmm.
And
that wasn't how I found you. Yeah, because I found you through the videos, not through the
eventually the
column.
videos got popular enough that they started to attract a following separate from the columns. And within 2 years, I had stopped writing on Jalopnik
But
because
the writing is so good. If you
the
have
writing's
it,
better.
If you haven't, go to Jalopnik.
a lot of it's gone.
Or the Truth About Cars, or
But a
Auto
lot
Trader
of the
Overseer.
best ones were on Jalopnik, and a lot of them are gone
Sadly.
because they purged all their old Kinja stuff,
Yeah.
and most of those were shared from Kinja onto the main. I mean, this is when Gawker was the king of the world, and
Such good articles, though.
they were so good. It was
It turns out Doug is okay at the video things, but
much better writer. But there's no demand for that anymore.
No.
It's like a blacksmith. I was a great blacksmith
right.
back in the day.
What would be the equivalent today? What do you think the blacksmiths?
Soon it will become long-form videoing. Short-form videoing will be the... Okay, I don't even remember what I selected, so what is mine?
You selected this one? Wow,
Turn this up. This is great content. How long is this?
long. By this point, they got
4.5
to
minutes.
4.5 minutes. By the way, for those that don't know, Doug refused to do a video over like 7 minutes long for years.
Purposeful there. Just falling.
I think that's how the regular plate hung too.
Yeah, I think that's how the radio plate hung. So
You
I
only
just,
had one screw.
so I just rubber banded it. You can see the rubber band to the regular
Look,
plate.
I bought this car for
This
$1.
was Filippo's car, okay?
His personal vehicle.
I'm going to explain what I mean in a second, but first let me introduce you to the Spectra. It's owned by my cameraman, Filippo, who is currently standing behind the camera mocking me for being an idiot.
That was
Still to
accurate.
this
for that
Nothing has
model,
changed.
that video.
The country for $1. And it has a few flaws.
By the way, I've heard since that the coworker I bought it from was not super thrilled by what happened to this car. Sorry, Tim.
Scrape. There's this dent and this
I
dent.
want to know, I added no dents or scrapes.
Till we ran over it.
Until we ran over it. Yeah.
One big one.
Well, until I left it parked on the street in West Philly for a year.
What happened to your thumb? It was all bloody in there. Did you cut yourself?
Brake doesn't work.
I forgot the parking.
It worked-ish. I had to pass. It was titled and registered in New Hampshire, where my parents lived, and the handbrake had to work to get it past the safety.
That's you, right?
Yeah.
It was sold by the classy Parker. This car is so bad that Filippo one time went on the Edmunds.com trade-in value tool to see what
Man, my hair was so much better.
and all the specifics, and the trade-in value was
Negative $39.
negative.
I had to put this in because we didn't think people would believe that
Yep.
they offered you negative money.
trade-in value tool, and I put in all the car specifics, and the value that I got was.
Negative $39.
In other words, according to Edmunds, if Filippo wanted to trade this car in on a new one, he would have to pay a dealer $39 to take it off his hands.
Feels fair.
In spite of these issues, it remains the best car I've ever reviewed. And here's why.
We filmed this behind a Walmart or Target.
Whatever the Dollar Tree, maybe.
God, look at those 4.3 wheels.
Yep.
No.
Three was I was so worried about parking the Aston Martin.
Can relate.
No.
And then I park in some lonely end spot, far away from everyone else, so that nobody will hit me. Perfect. In the Spectra, you can park wherever you want, even if it's between a Ford Escort.
I want to know that I then fixed the alternator belt eventually.
Also don't care about minor annoyances like shopping carts hitting.
Oh, I guess I maybe added a dent. Through my own.
Well, in fairness, he added it, not you.
The Spectra is also great to drive. I mean, really, it's horrible to drive. But in the Aston, you have to go carefully around every little pothole and road bump.
What an easy video to film in South Philly.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Spectra, you can do pretty much whatever you want.
I made you do that 3 or 4 times because you went too slowly every other
Yeah.
time. Turns out you're trained to not hit
I
the
should have
pole.
gone even faster.
Yep.
I just spent $1,420 on the annual service for my Aston Martin. According to Edmunds, this thing isn't worth $1,420, even if you had $1,450. The result is that you can get creative with repairs. In the Aston, everything has to be replaced perfectly to manufacturers.
You couldn't even take the tripod out of it.
Who really cares? A zip tie here, a piece of tape there, nothing here, and you don't really care about it.
Did you ever do oil changes?
Yeah, of course.
The Spectra is the best car I've ever
Also,
reviewed simply because
It's worth knowing. Normally the car was a little bit cleaner than that.
Doesn't make a difference.
I don't think we mentioned that you have to use a different key for the driver's door than to start the car because the key was broken in halfway in. It unlocked it.
big fat insurance payout, wherein you have to give your insurance company 30.
It makes when it starts up. Where's the noise? So Filippo, the story of this car was Filippo bought this car for $1 from a coworker,
Tim.
Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
And
He was moving from Philly to Portland
yeah,
and didn't want to bring the car.
Oregon.
Yeah.
And he didn't want the car, and so Filippo gave him $1 and got the car, and somehow got it titled and
Easily.
registered.
It took 2 tries at the New Hampshire inspection.
State inspection.
Yep. Which means I had to drive to New Hampshire 2 different times because I went up on like a Friday after I was in school at the time.
That car from Philly.
I
that's
drove
a tough...
from Philly to New Hampshire 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
in
he
that car.
did it a bunch with that car.
There was no AC, but you just go with all the windows down, up 95.
We drove it around. It was total trash. So in the end,
Deep trash.
Filippo abandoned the car.
Yeah.
In Philly, in West Philadelphia. And we didn't really know what to do with it, so he just abandoned it. It didn't have any value.
I
didn't want to have to pay somebody $39
after
to take it away from him.
After I graduated from college, I took a trip to Italy to visit my dad and just do like a post-graduation trip. And I came back and I lived in Baltimore. I was moving to Baltimore at the time. And we had like already moved our stuff into an apartment, I think. And I flew into JFK because the flight was cheaper. What else
Sounds like Filippo.
It's like hundreds of miles. It's like 100 miles away.
And my plan was to take the train from JFK to Central Station to Philly and then drive to Baltimore. But I was so tired that while I was on the train to Philly, I decided, no.
I'm just going to
I'm
go to
just going to go to
Baltimore.
Baltimore and leave the car.
Because you had already bought your Ford Focus replacement car at that point. So that had happened.
Or like I rented a
He
car. Or something.
abandoned the car.
The car was so
The car was in such rough shape, so
unpleasant.
he abandoned it. You know this story?
Yeah, didn't you leave it unlocked?
With the key in the glove box.
Well, because I handed the title to Doug at one point.
Yeah, and of course I didn't know what to do then. So he left it abandoned with the key in the glove box in West Philly.
40th and Pine for those
At
kids.
40th and Pine near Penn, and so we didn't know really what to do with it. And so after like 6-8 months, we had always stayed in touch. He occasionally would come back to Philly and hang out and film more videos and stuff. And we were like, hey, let's run over this thing. And because I had the Defender, and so we went to West Philly. Every so often I would drive
you
by
would
it when
check
I
it.
was over there, and it was always there. And at some point, someone broke the windshield,
But like, how was it still there?
but it was still there the whole
Literally,
time.
the door was unlocked and the key was in the glove box. it was hidden in the glove box.
It was that undesirable, even in Philly.
So we called.
I feel bad because parking wasn't
Yeah.
easy, and that was one of the few streets that didn't have a parking
Well,
restriction.
that is further proof of why full-time free street parking is BS.
Yep.
So we called AAA after it had been sitting there a year, and I called and said, "Hey, my car won't start." Hey, my car won't start, and they were like, "All right." So I sent a tow truck driver, and the guy came, and we had to be like, "Man, this thing, I don't know. It
I ran last week.
there was no problem before," and it's like covered in leaves. The windshield has been broken for
cobwebs
months.
that attach the ground.
I mean,
of
yeah.
the car.
He was like, "You sure you've been driving this?" And I was like, "No, I haven't. But here's $40 if you transport it where I need it to go." He was like, "All right."
That's all it took.
And so he did it, and then we ran it over. That was the last time we ever saw it.
It was a fitting end to the car.
And in that
Sorry,
video,
Tim.
we took it to South Philly at a Walmart and bumped into things a couple times.
We should have done it harder in retrospect.
That was our video for the week. Well, you needed the car though.
I
This
know,
was
but, like,
early
the
in your
bumper.
ownership. We didn't know, but the bumper could. What if it broke off and then you were
It
screwed?
would have been fine. it didn't pass.
It's
though.
easy to say in retrospect, but
Yeah,
at the
I know.
time you were like, this was like your only
I drove
transportation.
that car almost every day.
Yeah.
Because I worked in like Northern Liberties, East Kensington, and I would drive.
Yeah.
Should I have taken the subway? Yes,
why
but I would
didn't
drive. Got a car.
Well, there you go. Those are some old Doug videos. It's amazing for me to. I haven't watched any of those videos in a long time.
Any feelings about watching those old videos? Any thoughts?
They are worse than I thought.
They're so much better than you thought.
I think it's important to remember, like, YouTube was different back then.
Oh, yeah.
When I launched that 360, I was the only guy on YouTube with a Ferrari.
Well, that was why I watched you and Shmee, because Shmee had a V8 Vantage, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's got a V8 Vantage."
Yeah.
And then you got the 360, and now, of course, if you can buy the newest limited edition McLaren, and it's like, okay,
Right.
Yep.
Now it doesn't matter. But at the time, it was a really big deal. And so people look at these old videos, they laugh at the quality and all that. But that was kind of what YouTube
Yeah.
was back then. I
was so
wasn't
good.
I wasn't dramatically better or worse than just about anybody else.
It's amazing that pacing worked too. It feels like it's so much slower
Yeah.
than a lot.
Also,
slower.
imagine doing a 6-minute video now.
Yeah.
Like, it just isn't
Yeah.
realistic.
Right, you either do 28 minutes or just over a minute on TikTok
on a short,
to get instant.
yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
Well, that was interesting to watch those old videos.
So many good videos.
The old days of Doug, Filippo, my cameraman, and look
Yep.
at him now.
Yep.
Running
Still-
cars and bids.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Great success for Filippo.
Now my car is worth more than negative $38.
You finally have come up in
Not
the world.
not by much.
Not
but,
much.
but more. It's in the positives.
Really traded up. Filippo is 3 cars past that.
Something like that. I've had other cars,
Proud of him.
but yeah,
Proud of him. Still
Yep.
still hasn't had a good one, but he's getting there.
so true. So true.
Thank you for watching, everybody. It was certainly an interesting experience. I hope you enjoyed our
was
Hummer
great.
tour of New York. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.